as you probably know, the Late Late Toy Show takes place this Friday, but if you don't have kids or your interests lean in a more adult direction, another toy show will be streaming on Thursday, the Sex Toy Show. The woman behind it is the holistic sex educator, Jenny Keane. Jenny, good afternoon to you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Now, I mean, it's a 2-hour show. It's kind of, are you modelling it on the do you do song and dance routines or anything like that during the course of it?
No, not really song and dance routines, but there are performances. So it's basically talking about like what the best sex toys are on the market, how to use them, how to introduce them into the bedroom if that's something that you're looking to do. And then what we do then is add in performances and demos. So think like last year, we did it last year and the year before. So there was different things that we did. We took on a burlesque dancer who came on and taught striptease. And then last year we did lap dance. The year before as well, we had a dominatrix come on and teach, simple bondage techniques. So it's a really kind of wide variety of entertainment. And really what it is, it's just a bit of fun,
Yes, of course, yeah. What's a simple bondage technique as opposed to a complicated bondage technique? Is it like really like complicated knots and things that you have to use?
It can get extremely complicated with bondage, yeah. People get really decorative with the type of knots that they tie and all that kind of stuff now. I wouldn't be interested in that. It'd take too long for me to do. So I'm interested in the simple techniques,
Yeah.
And also as well, I think one of the big things, and you actually mentioned, it's like people have different budgets and whatnot when it comes to their lifestyle. An awful lot of people can't afford to go out and buy a sex toy for €200. And I think when you're in a kind of a world where you might want to experience pleasure or experience different types of pleasure or experience even different sensations, or even introduce new kind of fun ways of interacting with your partner, it's sometimes when the market is flooded with so many toys and so many options, it's hard to know where to turn. And oftentimes there's a lot of trial and error involved, which means you're spending an awful lot of money in order to find what fits you. So this is just a way to, like, I suppose, bring this, it's like my own personal recommendations, the recommendations of the people who've been in my workshops for the last couple of years, and also teaching people as well, what to look out for, what's good, how, and also creative ways of how to use them and things like this as well,
Yeah, why would 200 quid for a sex toy? Would a 200 quid sex toy be 10 times better than a 20 quid sex toy?
It depends on the sex toy.
Okay. Well, like, what would you get for 200 quid?
It depends again. I mean, there's such a range. Certain brands are more kind of high end. The packaging is better. So, and also the type of equipment that they use within the toy as well would be a lot more high end and a lot more technical. But at the same time, yeah, I also teach as well, like how that you actually don't need to spend any money at all in order to introduce this fun and introduce pleasure, that you can use. I call them pervertibles, or like household items,
Okay.
Yeah.
Such as?
Well, one of the big things.
Electric toothbrush?
No.
No? Okay.
I wouldn't suggest that.
Obviously, and then you go into, change the head on it or something, I suppose.
I don't know. A lot of people say this, but I think that's more of a myth that happens in the kind of media markets. But I don't know any woman that would want to put a toothbrush up.
No. Well, I mean, on that, no, it's only, I suppose it's because it makes a no. Like, do most, things that need batteries or do they make a noise? Are you going,
So again, that depends. So actually, battery operated toys tend to be on the quieter side. And then when it comes to rechargeable toys, it totally depends. There are some brands that really market for like kind of quiet and silent vibrators, for example. But sometimes you're going to find, again, with some of the cheaper toys, it doesn't have the technology to be as quiet. So it just depends on, what suits you and your lifestyle. I mean, if you're living alone or you're living with a partner, that might not be a problem. If you have kids, or actually if you're living with your parents, then this is something to consider,
Yeah.
So
well, yes. If the kids hear that, look, she's got the yoke out again.
Yeah. I mean, there are ways around that as well, which will cost no money, which is, turn the music on really loud, like put a lock on the door.
Yeah, there is, yeah. But I imagine some people, like, just the buzzing might put them off or make them self-conscious.
Yeah, for sure. But, also we have things nowadays, like such access to so many different types of tools actually that would support your sexual wellness. So for some people, if a buzzing noise would be really would interrupt their pleasure, maybe listening to audio porn might be a technique, or as I said, music, depending on what type of music I suppose turns you on.
Yes. And would well, I don't know whether hardiness, like, I mean, you don't want to buy something and then, after you use it 5 times and then it breaks. So
Yeah.
that, how can you
That's
that's the case?
Yeah, and that's one of the benefits, I suppose, to spending a little bit more money. It doesn't mean you have to go to the 200 mark. There are toys on the market that are, 60 euros, 70 euros, which are extremely durable. And again, it would just be looking at, the different types of brands that are out there and knowing how to discern what it is that you're looking at.
Okay, so what would be the brand leaders? What are the big names, the brands, and to avoid, I suppose, knockoffs from China or whatever that are just going to break after 5 minutes?
So some of the big brand leaders would be Lilo, would be one of them. This would be one of the high-end brands. They kind of market for, I suppose, high-end intimacy. The prices tend to be up there with the 200 mark. And then you have something
up there.
like...
Yeah, it's a pun fest, isn't it?
This is and then you'd have a brand like Satisfyer. And I always say, like, if there's something that you like in Lilo, you should look and say it doesn't fit your budget, go and look at Satisfyer. It's a really great brand for really incredible, durable products, but at a much lower price range. And then there's like a whole host of brands in between.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing is that the sex toy industry is huge. There are so many brands. There are so many different types of toys. I think it's very easy to get lost when you're when you don't know where to start.
Yeah. Did you say a gerbil brand?
Yeah, as in, like, you're talking about like something that would last for a long period of time.
Oh, right, okay, that's
wouldn't
what
just
that
die
means.
after
Yes.
10.
All right, I gotcha. Yeah, and it's like for anything that vibrates. Obviously, I assume it can be a big, massive thing, but it can be as small as just something you put on your finger.
Oh yeah, I love the finger vibrators. I always recommend them for either solo pleasure or couples pleasure because it's a really good way to introduce clitoral stimulation. And for a lot of women in particular, or vulva owners, they actually need clitoral stimulation in order to access pleasure and even access orgasm, right?
Yeah.
Along with penetration.
Yeah, and I understand that there's a necklace you can buy.
Oh yeah, the Crave necklace.
Yeah,
Yeah. I feel like that's like a bullet vibrator now as well. I bought one years ago. I actually have a really funny story. I went through the airport security wearing it, and obviously it got pulled up to the side, and they were like, "What's this?" Because when you spin the top off, there's a way to recharge it on the inside. And I was just looking at him. He was like, "What is this?" And I was like, I'm a masseuse, and this is like a pressure point massager. I was just like standing there in the line. So don't bring it through security, but yeah, you can wear it like as a necklace, and it's more like a statement piece, like to kind of, I suppose, a quiet way to express like your sexual, I suppose, a way of expressing sexual expression,
Right, okay, so you can wear it, and then all these things are washable, presumably.
Oh,
if you're
yeah,
gonna wear
absolutely.
It as where is it, a necklace again?
Oh yeah,
kind of thing. You know what I mean? Someone says, first vibrator for me and my wife was an old electric toothbrush.
Yeah.
Then we discovered an Irish toy shop. So it has been used, it seems. And a sex blanket.
Oh yeah, I've created a sex blanket this year. So it's basically, I suppose, I don't know, have we all been there where it's like you're kind of scrambling for like an old t-shirt, like the t-shirt that you just threw off, where your bed sheets are getting messy every time, and it's just a way of putting something down, like whether it's over a bed or over a mattress. It's a double-sided, it's a waterproof on both sides, but it actually just looks like any kind of other innocuous throw that you would put on your sofa.
Okay.
And obviously I've been testing them out this year, and I've actually found like that for me, I always spill tea on my sofa, and I've been like, this is actually just fantastic for this. It like soaks everything up.
So it's actually a stain blanket rather than just necessarily a sex blanket.
It's like if you were a messy eater, messy drinker, messy, sex person.
Yeah.
You need it.
Okay, fair enough. And now it's because I suppose most of what we talked about is pleasure for people with vulvas. Is there?
Oh, there is
stuff for people with penises as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And one thing that I will say is that for a lot of the toys in the market, it's very much directed towards women and women's pleasure because they tend to be quicker to buy these tools, I suppose. But actually, a lot of the toys are transferable to penis owners and penis pleasure once you know how to use them and how to stimulate them. But then we also do talk about male-specific toys as well.
Yeah, okay. Are they more elaborate?
No, I wouldn't say they're more elaborate. No, they're just different.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But they'd be bigger.
No.
If you have to insert something
bigger.
into it.
No, I mean masturbation sleeves they're actually coming in all shapes and sizes now as well. So some of them have the vibration kind of aspect, a part of it, which is where you would insert the penis into a sleeve and then it's kind of sucking and vibrating and doing all this stuff. But there are other ones that are just a sleeve itself. It's almost like a thicker condom that you would put over a penis. And it's a really nice way to actually, if you are used to, I suppose for men, if you're used to self-pleasuring in one particular way, it's a nice, very simple way. And also it's very cheap, a very cheap way, because they would be about €10, these sleeves. And to, I suppose, change up the way you're experiencing self-pleasure, adding sensation, and then seeing what that feels like, you know?
Yeah, okay, you're finding out things that you probably didn't know you liked.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, right? Because when it comes to conversation around sex in general, one of the things that happens when we don't talk about it enough is that we tend not to know how to explore or how to approach, finding out new things. We all have curiosities about sex, about pleasure. I think it's really important to understand that everyone wants to know, like, how can I experience more pleasure? Or is there things that I'm experiencing that I could be experiencing better? Or I've never experienced this type of orgasm. I wonder, is it possible? These are tools that you can kind of use to supplement your your intimacy, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
And your connection.
Very specific question from a listener. Where can we buy a Bora Rabbit tapping G-spot vibrator in Ireland?
Oh, I would say Google that.
Yeah, okay. Bora tapping G-spot vibrator. Good gosh.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah. That sounds more like some sort of DIY tool than anything else. If people, so it's on Thursday, and where do people go if they'd like to have a look?
Yeah, if you go onto my website, so jennykeane.com, or I also have another one, an online sex store, and it has the workshops on it there as well. That's called o-moment.com, and they're just there. And all the information is there if you want to know more.